た。Hi, everybody. We will be starting in 6 minutes. Hope you guys are good.
All right, thank you.
Hi everybody. Good afternoon. Good evening. How are you guys doing? Good, good. Hi.
Good. Hi, how are you?
Good. I'm good. Hoping that you guys are good as well. Want to say hi to Safia, Guing, Karen, Lynn, Minchi, Neda, Nisha, and we have Shinyi, Ziba, Alifa, and Mark. Good afternoon, good evening, people. Hoping that you guys are great. Welcome to week 2 of creative writing. Today we will be having, I will be explaining week 2 lecture, then I'll explain the list of assessment brief. Tomorrow we will meet up on campus for those who opt for face-to-face from 2 to 3 p.m. only. So tomorrow, only tomorrow, there's a tutorial from 2 to 3 p.m. only because I have a meeting at 3 to 4. I'll be live streaming from campus, teaching you guys tomorrow on creating WordPress for individual activities in class assignment and for the group assignment as well. Okay, any questions so far for week 1 creative writing? Do you guys have questions? Hi, Hayes, hi. Sangeeta.
MS. For tomorrow's tutorial, online tutorial, how do we join?
Okay, I will give a Zoom meeting link tomorrow. No, not tomorrow, tonight. In case there's any changes, in case we are not going back to campus, I'm gonna confirm with you guys tonight. But as scheduled, we are going back to campus tomorrow for week 2 tutorial. I'll give out the Zoom meeting links through Teams message and WhatsApp group. Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. Any questions? Any questions before we start? Okay. Where do I get the Zoom meeting link for today's class? Amina, give me a second. I need to give give me a second. Copy invite link. Give me a second. There's one person that needs to be invited. Yeah. Give me a second, yeah. Okay. Okay, so with that, Okay, welcome to week 2 of creative writing. Let's start the lecture now. We are going to have lecture, even though it takes 4 to 6, normally lecture will take 4 to 5 p.m. In case I have any important information to share with you, then it will drag. But normally it's 4 to 5 p.m. And as usual, if you have any questions, stop me at any time and I will share and just unmute your mic and I will answer your questions. In case you you feel shy and you don't want to share your voice with me today, then you can type in the chat box. Okay, your question in the chat box. Okay, I'll share my screen right now. Okay, can you guys see my PowerPoint slides? Can you see my PowerPoint slides?
Yes, can.
Yes. All right. With that, okay, let's start for today's class now. Okay, let me click on right show. Okay, slideshow. Okay, welcome to week 2 of creative writing, people. And with that, let's define what is creative writing itself. I have gone through for last week's lecture, what is creative writing. So, but just to remind everybody, creative writing is anything that falls outside of technical and academic writing. So out from the APA boring style and out from all this jargon term style, that is what you call creative writing. Anything else than technical and academic writing. Okay, and there's so many types of creative writing that you can actually explore. So in case you are like a writer and you like to write, you know, at any time possible, you know, that's good. That's a good start for many types of creative writing. The first one would be fiction stories. Another type of creative writing is through film and television scripts, where people develop drama scripts and movie scripts. Creative writing is through songs as well. It can be in the form of poetry, it can be in a form of plays, and it can be in a form of vignettes. Anybody know what vignettes is? Can you guys share me your thoughts? What is vignettes, people? Vignettes. Any idea? Any idea? Any idea? No. Any idea what vignette is?
Is it like an episode of sorts, like of like a person's perhaps their life or something?
Yeah, it's like an episode. It's like a short. It's like a narration as well. It can be a short episode. Yeah, that's right. Thank you, Lynn, for your sharing. Good job. Okay, with that, we in this particular subject, right? Creative writing. We are going to focus on for the mass media. Okay, so for the media, it can be when we talk about mass media. Anybody has an idea what mass media is? We go to the basics first. What is mass media, people? Anybody have any idea what mass media is? Can you guys share with me your thoughts on what mass media is? Okay, we have one right here. A large majority of people watching it. That's right. When we talk about mass media, people, it's a form of media where a large number of audience is catered, is channeled into that platform. So mass media, for your information, just to recollect your memory on what mass media is, mass media would be a platform where number of audience is channeled into that particular medium. We have print media. Print media falls under newspaper. We have magazines, we have brochures as well, and we have scholarly publications. Okay, and we have broadcasting media. Broadcasting media, we have TV, we have radio. Okay, and another one would be in the form of internet, which is new media. Okay, and mass media also, a lot of people forget that mass media also is films. Mass media is also through music as well. Okay, so that's some of the mass media that I want to list to you guys about how creative writing develops through every part of mass media. But in this module, we concentrate particularly on newspapers and magazine in terms of creative writing. So what is it all about? Let's go into together. Okay, so when we talk about media, okay, let's move to the first one, which is newspaper. Okay, when we talk about newspaper, it falls under the profession and the term of what we call in media is journalism, the activity of or profession of writing for newspapers, magazines, or news websites, or preparing news to be broadcast. So when we talk about journalism, we have two types of journalism, which is print journalism and broadcast journalism. Just like similarly, I explained just now, when we talk about print journalism, it focuses on newspapers and magazine. Broadcast journalism, it focuses on TV and radio. Okay, so it's two different things, whereby print journalism, you write for the eyes. Okay, for broadcast journalism, you write for the for print journalism, you write for the eyes, okay, because you read. For broadcast journalism, it's more for eyes and ears because it involves visual. Okay, so any questions so far? Are we good, people? Are we good? Okay, good. Okay, I'll continue on. Okay, when we talk about journalism, okay, the term of people who writes and reports news, okay, news for journalism is what we call journalists. Sometimes we call them as reporters as well. We call them writers as well. And all these journalists and writers and reporters will write for a certain desk. Desk in journalism would be departments of sections of newspapers. So in newspapers and in particularly, we have current news, we have economics, we have business, we have politics, and we have what falls under creative writing would be lifestyle and features. Okay, so that is where creative writing for newspaper comes in. Okay, and when we talk about when you write for a newspaper, your boss, your immediate boss would be your managing editor for that particular desk. Let's say you are a journalist for lifestyle, okay, for a lifestyle desk, then your managing editor will be lifestyle managing editor. So different department have different editors. Editors would be a very senior journalist that will edit your news. So sometimes when you write as a journalist, not everything will come out. You will have the initial idea of whatever happens around you or whatever that you have gathered for a story. But at the end of the day, when you work for a media organization, editor will always edit your news according to the media organization objectives. Okay, so if you're sometimes journalists have all this kind of what would I say, enthusiasm to write news, but sometimes it's not accepted by many editors. Sometimes editors will ask you to write what news. You could not actually dictate or have that freedom in writing what news you want. And especially that happens in Malaysia. Okay, any questions so far? That is a little bit of experience, sharing by experience. Any questions so far? Are we good? Good. Okay.
When you're working as a journalist, are you allowed to choose which desk you would want, or are you assigned to a specific desk?
Okay, well, who is asking the question?
Pia.
Okay, good question, Pia. Yeah. Upon enrolling yourself in a media organization, the first and foremost is you don't have the say to be stationed where. You will be assigned first at current news desk. Okay, so it is according to availability of the post and how good are you in writing. Okay, so let's say upon 2 years as a journalist working at the current desk affairs. So current desk affairs is where as a journalist you will cover all sorts of news. So that is where you gain experience, might be in politics, crime, or sudden events, or even court cases. You will be called upon to write those news. Yeah, so this is what we call hard news journalists. For current news desk, it's always it's not creative writing, it's always in a form of hard news, which I will share later on. Okay, so upon after 2 years, for example, working as a current news journalist, current affairs, we call it as CA journalist. Then you can actually move on to what particular desk that you would like to go to. So a minimum years to actually reach as a basic journalist is 2 years. Then you can move on to whether you want to choose lifestyle, if there is vacancy, or crimes. So for a hard news journalist, normally if you are good in terms of writing, you will be called upon to and you will be called upon to join the crimes desk. The crimes desk is where every journalist looks forward to enroll themselves into, because that is where you learn almost everything, and you see almost everything, might it be in terms of accidents or unfortunate events, or every single thing. So through crime desk, you will learn a lot of things. Then if your writing gets good, then if you want to be, if you want to have a more relaxed pace, then you will move on to features desk. Yeah, I would say that. So normally that's how it goes in Malaysia. I don't I'm not pretty sure for different media agency, but for Malaysia it's always in print, it's always current affairs. Then if you're good, you move to crimes. Then if you don't like crimes and you would like to decline the offer, you can opt for business, even economics and features and so forth. But a minimum year to reach as a journalist is 2 years. Yeah. Does that answer your question, Pia?
Yep. Thank you
Alright.
very much.
Okay, no problem. Any other questions that I can answer before we move on? Okay, so I want to share with you guys that I was a current affairs journalist. I was a crimes journalist as well. Then I moved to courts. Then I did a bit of entertainment. Then a little bit of sports as well. So in terms of features, I did a little bit of tech writing for the Star many years ago. Okay, but not too long, about 3-4 years ago. Okay, so a little bit on. Okay, I've explained the works of who is involved in journalism. Okay, so when we talk about journalism, there's 2 types of news that you can find in the newspaper. I know when you talk about newspaper, you think nobody actually reads newspaper now. How many of us actually buy a hard copy newspaper? Nobody. I don't. Yeah, you guys buy newspaper in the last 5 years? Minchi, yeah, good. You're supporting the journalism industry. Anybody? Raise of hands. No. Yeah, nobody actually buy newspapers now. Pia buys newspaper, okay, which is good. Okay, so to actually buy a physical newspaper, it's only being practiced by I would say 60 years old and above. But now even my father reads newspaper through his mobile phone. So yeah, things change, technology change, and with that, even though people say to you journalism is dying, industry whereby so many people are being sacked, especially in Malaysia. But you can say you can deny that particular fact, because as of today, many people are being recruited. The journalism industry is being boosted now because due to the COVID-19, we are understaffed, and a lot of news it needs to be reported and so forth. Okay, and there are two types of news that you can find in newspaper, which is first hard news and second soft news, which is feature stories, more narrative and creative writing. Okay, I'm going to share with you what is hard news. Hard news use the inverted news pyramid style, whereby when you read newspapers or browse through any particular newspaper, they practice the inverted news pyramid style, whereby the first paragraph right here is called the lead, where they cram the 5W and 1H right there. Who, what, when, where, why, and how. Okay, so they cram everything in that in hopes that you know, the reader will get the major idea of what the reporter or journalist would like to convey. Okay, so mostly when we talk about inverted news pyramid and hard news, it's always about politics, current event, accidents, crimes, officiating events, and so forth. So it's always current. Breaking news is always hard news. Okay, and with that, it goes to from the most important information to the least important information. Why do we do that? Why do, you know, we practice this kind of style for hard news, for breaking news, yeah, for the news that happens, you know, at that very moment? Is because when readers read, they don't have time to read the whole paragraph. Oh, okay, there's questions. And low attention span. Yeah, that's correct, Jason. Low attention span as well, because there's so many news in the newspaper, and you don't have time to read all the paragraphs. So that's how important the style of using inverted news pyramid is. Okay, we go to the next one. I want to show you the example of the hard news. Okay, example of hard news would be this one. Yeah, I just took it just now, a couple of hours ago. So this would be the title of the news, is what we call the headline. Okay, so for example here, the decomposed body found in Segambut. Segambut is one of the places in KL. Well, after 1 month. Okay, so that's a picture right here. I did not focus on the picture. And then if you took the picture from a different source, make sure to always credit the particular source right here. Okay, very, very important. And as I mentioned before, in our previous class, we start a hard news story with a place line. This is what we call a place line. Okay, PLACELINE. It must be in all caps. Okay, caps. And then we have semicolon, and you start with only one sentence lead. Okay, for hard news, it's important to summarize the most important information at the very first paragraph. Okay, so for example, here, a badly decomposed body was discovered in a well at an abandoned construction site in Segambut yesterday. So it focused on what, where, when it happened, in the very first paragraph. So make sure to get the most important information, you know, for inverted news, for hard news at the first paragraph. Then the second paragraph can explain what happened next. Okay, so normally when we talk about hard news, it's always 3 to 4 paragraphs. Okay, And for hard news, a maximum of only 2 sentences from the second paragraph to the fourth paragraph. Yeah? Any other questions? Any questions for now? Are we clear for hard news? Any questions for other people? Okay, we're good.
Miss, I have a
Yeah?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes. Is that Ziba?
This is Sangeeta.
Sangeeta, yes, Sangeeta, sorry.
It's okay. So for this module, we are focusing on lifestyle articles. Is it correct?
I will get back to you. I will get back to that in a bit. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions?
Hi, Miss.
Hi, Shashmita.
Hi. I would just like to ask, what about the dateline? Is that not required anymore? Or like next to the place line? Because I've seen articles that have like them side by side.
You mean deadline? You mean the date?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It depends on the media organization. Okay, for example, right here, right? If you can see my cursor, like here, this is what we call the byline, B-Y-L-I-N-E. Certain stories, okay, certain stories. It depends whether it's important. If it's important story, it's a very significant story, then your name comes out. If it's not that important, your organization name will appear. Your name will not appear there because it's just a very normal story. This would be the deadline, that's right. Okay, but it depends on certain media organizations. Certain media organizations don't practice this. Yeah, don't practice deadlines. But in case if you want to put that, that's fine. But normally, if you read on a hard copy newspaper, there wouldn't be a deadline. It will only be Kuala Lumpur and starting off the news story. It is because it is understood when you read a hard copy newspaper, whatever you read today is what happened yesterday. Okay, but good question, Shashmita, whereby deadline is important in terms of news websites. So certain news website, they put deadlines. You can put your month and date right here and year and the time of the news. But certain news website, they don't practice that. So it depends on news organization as well. Yeah?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, cool. Okay, any other questions before we move on? Okay, no questions. Okay, I move on to soft news. Okay, soft news of story, which are few featured stories in newspaper. So when we talk about soft news, on the other hand, refers to the stories that provide other background information about world events, human interest stories, or entertainment news. Since they do not deal with serious subjects, they are labeled as soft. Examples: sport news, celebrity news, or human interest stories that deals with emotion. So that is what we call feature. So that soft news and feature is the same thing. So this is the definition. So there are two types of features, especially in newspaper, which is the first one, news feature, and the second one would be timeless stories. Okay, I'm going to show you an example. Okay, an example of news feature would be, okay, give me a second. Let me type right here. Okay, an example of a news feature would be, let's say there's a breaking story on 1MDB, right? 1MDB, anybody has an idea of what 1MDB is? Yes, yes, no, no. No, okay. One MDB would be a political scandal involving the former Prime Minister of Malaysia in siphoning $2.6 billion dollars of Malaysian money to his own personal account. So that is one MDB political scandal. So the former Prime Minister Najib Razak has been charged guilty with 7 counts of charges as well. So go and read that up. So I'm just going to go explain what news feature is. So if news features are breaking stories and an extension of breaking stories. So let's say if you read like so many things on one MDB, and that's the most in thing, or that is the most popular topic that everybody is talking about. So what the editorial team will do, which is the journalist and managing editor, is what we call editorial team, will decide that, oh, okay, let's write an extension of what you think this particular journalists feel about what one MDB is. And this particular journalist will find a lot of interviewees pertaining to one MDB to back his or her story up. So for example, if the journalist feels that the one MDB political scandal is just a parade of political nuisance, right? So he or she can actually write that with backing information from credible sources. So news features would be an extension of a narrative of a breaking story. So that would be news features. Okay, everybody clear on that? What news features is? Okay, good. Any questions? Okay.
Hi, Miss.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Eva.
This is Eva. Yeah. Hi. I just had it out. So there's this really hot news going on. Okay, so like a breaking news.
Okay.
And obviously is in the hot news, right?
Yeah.
And so me as a general writer, I just wanna write an article upon my opinion on what I think about it. So would that be considered as a soft news or a hard news?
Yes, that will be considered as soft news, falls under news feature, provided that you have a number of interviewees to back your opinion. Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Great. I have one more question as well. So if you don't have any sources for the feature and it's just an analysis of the hard news that's happening right now, would that also classify as a feature?
Okay, it can be provided that at the end of the column, at the end of the story, right? Okay, I will get back to that. I will get back to the example of news feature in a bit, Zenchong. Okay, provided that you are an expert of that particular area. Okay, so for example, if you are a journalist, let's say you're a journalist, but you have a qualification, you are a political analyst as well, and you have a PhD in political science to back it up, then you don't have to interview anybody. It comes from you as an expert, but you are a journalist as well. So that falls under as a column, as an opinion piece. Yeah. But if you are a journalist only, normally journalists only without any expert of background expertise, yeah, they could not write such piece. Yeah, so if you are a journalist / accountant and you are commenting on the economy, current economy status of your country, yeah, that by all means you don't have to have interviewees. Yeah, I would say that.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem, Lynn. Okay, so that will be news features, yeah. And then the second type will be timeless stories, whereby timeless stories is everlasting stories, any human interest stories that involves anything exciting. So when we talk about journalism as a journalist in writing news, feature news, you have to have an angle. What we call as news angle is what kind of direction that you want to go to in writing that particular topic. Okay, you can have 70 news topics of cancer throughout 3 or 6 months in duration, but what kind of angle that makes your topic, that makes your write-up different than the other journalists? Okay, so news angle, what kind of direction that you want to go to into your writing is very, very important. You can talk about cancer, but what do you want to talk about cancer? Do you want to talk about the struggle of a patient? What kind of a patient that you want to interview? We have all types of cancer. We want to talk about colon cancer, struggle is different. Breast cancer is different. People who have thyroid cancer is different. So, you know, what kind of angle, direction that you want to go to is very, very important. And when we talk about news itself, it must be newsworthy, especially in feature stories. What is so unusual and very, very important in your topic that it is so worthy, it's so worthy to actually read by readers? That is what we want to instill in this particular subject. You can write about your struggle, you can write about your mom's struggle as well, but how can it be relatable to other people as well? That you must put in mind when you are writing a feature story. Okay, so that is very, very, very important. So I'm going to give you an example of feature stories in newspapers. Okay, I'm going to click right here. Okay, I'm going to copy right here and open my browser. Okay, so this is News Straits Times. It's a local newspaper news website in Malaysia. Okay, so can you guys see my browser right now?
Yes.
Okay, so what news? Okay, news would be hot news. Everything that goes under here. Okay, all this COVID-19 news, that would be hot news. Okay, so we go a little bit here, business, we have sports as well. Sports can be fall under, it depends. If it's much more of a narration, it can fall under feature writing, but sports as well, practice inverted news pyramid style. Okay, it depends on the team as well. So let's look at types of feature stories. It's under life and times. Yeah, so there's a lot of tabs right here. It depends on the editorial team on which week to actually, you know, cater what kind of theme they are going for their feature section. So normally in newspapers, it's always lifestyle desk. So lifestyle desk, you know, it falls under entertainment, feature stories, tech, and everything. Okay, so for example, right here, okay, we have Groove right here. Showbiz, Jackie Chan's luxury Beijing homes up for auction. Let's look here. Digitizing the nation history. Okay, so this is by Izzuan Ismail. Okay, this will be the byline of the author, and see, and the particular journalist actually scanned the first, you know, the first newspaper of the first page of the newspaper during the Independence Day of Malaysia. And you can start your writing right here. Okay, see, for example, right here, how do you archive 50 million documents, photographs, and news articles covering the nation history from as early as 1845 until the present day? How do you make them accessible to Malaysians and the entire world? So for feature stories, you can start with questions. You can start with anecdotes. You can start with a statement. You can start with a number. But for hard news stories, you could not. Okay, so for hard news stories, you could not question the readers. Your job is to only state the obvious. Whatever is happening around you, you do that. But for feature writing, it's time to be creative and you can elaborate. Yeah. So for even this feature story, see, he managed to actually get a quote from a credible source, which is let me see, where is this? The Media Prima's head of Art Crib and Gallery Prima, Azlin Aziz. So yes, Zaim, any questions?
When you said the hard news can start with questions, etc.
Yeah.
Is that when the leads come in?
Yes, that's true. Okay, so for example, right, for hard news story, you have to report the obvious. So for example, I'm giving you a hard news, the first paragraph of what is happening today, right? For example, creative, the week two of creative writing lecture is being shared with Taylor students at 41 p.m. today. That would be a style of hard news writing. Okay, very straightforward. But if you want to move into creative writing style, a feature writing style for newspaper, you can start off with creative writing. And you have a question mark. It differs, the interpretation differs for each and every one of us. It can be creative writing for you, but it can be a really a bottom issue for me. I don't know what to write for creative writing. What is weak to for me? You can go on and on for feature style of writing, but you could not, go on and on for hard news. You report, you write what is around you. You could not elaborate. Yeah. Is that clear, Zaim?
Thank you very much, mates. Clear.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so it's important, right, that throughout time, it's important to actually read news is a good practice for you to write your own stuff. Okay, very, very important. Okay, with that, this is an example of soft news. Okay, if you want to browse through any type of lifestyle news, is when you look at newspaper website, it falls under feature writing or creative writing.
Right.
Okay.
Next.
Yes.
Midnight, I think.
Yeah, Neda. Yeah, Neda. You have questions? No. Okay. Okay. No questions. Okay. Okay. For example, right here, this is another one of our fabric mask any good. Okay. So you can go on, for example, here, reusable masks with face masks now compulsory in crowded public areas. Both the disposable and fabric versions are in demand. And look here. Okay, Prof. Dr. James Cole, Kui Choi, who is International Medical University infectious diseases consultant and associate dean of academic affairs. Okay, says there are many types of cloth masks available in the market. So it's important that at every time when you write for newspaper feature or any feature, especially newspaper feature, okay, you have to quote a person. Okay, so that people know that you are not just writing it for fun, or you are writing it at your own view, because are you an expert of that view to actually give that idea? So people want to know that. Okay, so that's very, very important. Okay, coming back to the slides right here. Okay, I'm going to share you there are 15 types of newspapers feature, which will lead to our assessment brief later on. So that is a business story. You can go into, you can do business story. You can do the commemorative story, whereby a first anniversary of an event. For example, on the anniversary of September 11, you interview survivors. Be, you know, remembering September 11. How many years has it been up till September 11? And you want to write about that. Okay, good. Okay, you want to write about the explanatory story, which requires saturation research. So to actually do this, you have to know as an expert. You have to interview people. You have to interview a number of people to get your facts right. Okay, for example, how radio commercial is created, how natural gas reaches consumers' home. It can be boring, but sometimes if you think it's boring, other people, when they read it, right, it gives a new knowledge. Oh, I didn't know that, you know, how natural gas reaches consumers' home. You know, by reading it, this particular piece by, for example, Sangeeta. Oh, I know already. So, you know, so things like that, people remember. So, for example, the other day I was watching, there's a particular channel on Astro, right? Goes by the name of Astro Cheria. So my girl always plays Astro Cheria. So and at that particular program, I just want to share with you guys. It shares on how to actually raise up the Malaysian flag. There's so many ways of raising the Malaysian flag, and there's so many different meanings applied if you put the flag in a different way and things like that. So it actually, you know, I was like, oh, I didn't know that. That was so interesting. So yeah. Okay, so it can be as simple as raising the flag as well. Okay, and the fourth one will be the first person story. Sometimes you want to tell about whatever dramatic happened to the writer. You can do that in a newspaper feature as well, provided that you have a great story. Okay, and the historical story is which is loosely packed to a breaking news event. Gives the feature writer an excuse to do some research in the library and to show readers how the community or world has changed. Maybe you want to do about some breaking news story of a certain thing. For example, how I don't know. You let me know about the historical story. How a construction of a new building is delayed while a pioneer cemeteries. It can be a historical story as well. Okay. So this, what I've explained here is the, I'm sharing you the 15 types of newspaper feature that you can find throughout lifestyle features in the newspaper website, or whenever you read newspaper features. Okay. And we have the hobby story. Okay, the hobby story is when you encounter someone who collects, you know, unusual things. You can actually, you know, when it depends on how you see and how you source for newsworthy stories. Okay, so you can actually, there's so many people collect so many things, but if you're writing about the right collector, the one with the biggest unusual collection, that is a story right there. Okay, seventh would be the how-to story. It depends on the season as well. Give me a second. Give me a second. Give me a second. Give me a second. Yeah, wait. Give me a second right here. I'll be back.
So these are the four different types of mentalities. last question was about the two motivation. So the two motivation for companies to expand abroad is traditional motivation and emerging motivation. So under traditional motivation, you have resource seeking, market seeking, and also the access for low cost capital. Whereas under emerging motivation, you have the increasing scale economies, competitive position, and global scale capabilities. So any questions so far regarding the first chapter?
Someone class yesterday. Yeah, Diego. समझे प्रमोशनल कोड से क्या होता है? इंटरनेट कनेक्ट मेरे से होता है।
The first hour will discuss on the tutorial question that is available under your study guide document. The second hour will be an independent online task, and then you need to present.
Okay, coming back. Sorry, people. Okay, so the seventh one would be the how-to story, which is back to a season. Can you guys see my screen right now?
Information. You can either use your PowerPoint
Yeah.
slides and use Publish.com or to present your ideas. So the independent task
resume share. Sorry.
Yes, you can search the
Okay. So the seventh one would be the how-to story. Okay, the how-to story, which is pegged to the season. For example, what are the top 10 things that you want to do during COVID? And then we have the number 8 would be the invention story, whereby in the invention story, it must be a good feature material, because sometimes when we talk about the invention story, particular inventors will not give interviews until they have applied for a patent to protect their ideas. So it depends on what kind of things that you want to break through, that this is the best invention yet. The ninth would be the medical story. Okay, for example, the story, a struggle of a patient, or the struggle of a doctor, for example. Number 10 will be the number story, okay, a familiar number to put a problem and sometimes a solution in perspective, okay? So for example, you want to group that into a number, that can be done as well. Let me share back in full screen, okay? And number 11 will be the odd occupation story. You want to cover and write about people who have unusual jobs. The overview story will be telling the story of a breaking news in an overview. We have the participatory story as well. Okay, we have the profile story, whereby it can be about anyone or anything you want to write about. The Prime Minister, you want to pick something of interest, ask the subject for an interview, then interview the individual. And last but not least would be the unfamiliar visitor story, whereby a visitor, you can write about how a visitor of a particular country, for example, an American coming to Malaysia, and get their own unique perspective of touring all the islands and hopping islands in Malaysia. It can be done as well. So yeah, that is the most 15 common newspaper features that you can find in newspaper. I forgot that there is another one, which is the opinion piece that we will cover on later on in the weeks to come. Okay, so that is the 15 types of newspaper feature that you can do that leads to our first assessment for your final piece for this particular subject. Okay, give me a second. Can you guys see my screen right now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so so I did a little adjustment for the final piece, which is the creative writing, which is individual assignment, 30% writing a newspaper feature. Okay, is to choose. Okay, you don't have to do the lifestyle feature. The most important part is I have listed 15 types of newspaper feature that you can do. You can choose one of it and write an original newspaper feature of 800 to 1,000 words, provided to have at least minimum of 2 interviewees for your topic. So you can do any topic pertaining all those 15 types, choose one and you can do it. Okay, is that clear, people? So please pitch in to me your topics for your final piece tomorrow. Have a rough idea. It doesn't have to be like in writing. You can just talk to me about it and have just give me a rough idea what you want to do, who would you want to interview for tomorrow. Would that be okay?
Yes.
Any questions so far? Any questions so far, or there's questions?
Miss, do we just need to provide the writing?
Sorry?
Or sorry, are we just supposed to write, or do we need to design the layout of the newspaper or the magazine?
I know. Just for now, just give me the rough topic. Okay, the rough topic. Wow, what do you want to do? Okay, and who would you want to interview? Okay, so I'm gonna upload this assessment brief again on time, so you guys can have a look and let me know your thoughts on it. Okay, you don't have to like really write your layout. That we will do it tomorrow. Okay. Any questions so far? Are we good? Okay, good. So I will, before we head on to there's 3 more minutes, I just want to cover a little bit of the difference of inverted news pyramid, the inverted news pyramid style, okay, with you guys. When is the due date of the assignment? Okay, so for final piece, it's on week 7. Yes, you are allowed to interview anyone. Yeah, according to your topic. If you can't find people to interview, can we find videos online? Yeah, sure. But provided you have one minimum of interviewee, real interviewee. So I'm gonna go with you guys on that documentation, when to go to interview, who would you want to interview and things like that, and the style of writing tomorrow. Okay? Questions, people?
Tomorrow face to face, am I right?
Yes, tomorrow that's face-to-face classes from 2. I have meeting at 3, but from 2 to 3:30. From 2 to 3:30.
Okay.
Okay.
See you tomorrow then.
Okay. Any questions?
So for online, we'll just follow the link, right, Miss?
Yes. For
Okay.
online, for people who are up online, just wait for my links links tonight. But for those who are coming face to face tomorrow, you don't have to be online because you are seeing me face to face. So yeah, so you just come to the class and listen to the tutorial and do whatever I assign you to do so. Okay. Any other questions, people? So I will continue on the writing styles of the differences of inverted use pyramid, and I want to expose to you guys the structure of writing. The first structure of writing for newspaper feature is our hourglass structure. Tomorrow we will have more time tomorrow, and I'll have more time to explain it to you guys. Okay? Any questions so far? Are we good?
Yes, Miss. Thank you.
Okay, so before you leave, don't leave just yet. I want to give you the code for the creative writing on CAMS. Give me a second. Okay, give me a second. Okay, so this is just log in to cams.taylors.edu.my, and this is the code right here. Okay, so just copy paste the code, and you will, yeah, you guys are going in as well as I speak. Okay. Okay, any questions before we wrap things up, people? Questions? Are we good?
Miss, can we use the mobile phone as well using our Taylor?
Yeah, you can use the mobile phone as well. Okay, if no questions, then I'll be giving you guys the link for tomorrow, tonight, for those who opt for online modules, and I'll be seeing you guys, if you opt for face-to-face, I'll be seeing you guys tomorrow from 2 to 3 p.m. 2 to 3:30 most probably, and I'll be seeing you guys tomorrow. Thank you very much for coming in for today's lecture. So I'll be doing so many things tomorrow, which is explanation of the, first of all, would be the structure of writing for inverted use pyramid and hourglass, and I'll touch a little bit on how to create blogs and consultations for what you want to do for your final piece. Okay? Okay, if that's if no questions, that's a wrap for today. Thank you very much, people. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, baby says bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye, baby.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Miss.
Thank you very much.
Bye, Miss. Thank you. See you
Bye.
tomorrow, yeah?
See you tomorrow.
Thank you, Miss. See you
Okay.
tomorrow.
And Miss.
Okay, thank you very much. See you guys tomorrow.
और दूसरा